Gender-based violence can take place anywhere, at home, in the streets, at work.
And it's why more and more employers are developing a policy to not only protect its employees from abuse in the workplace, but ensure systems are there for counseling and support.
Akash Samaru and Gary Vincent have more on this important topic as we continue our 16 days of activism against gender-based violence.
Manager Kevin McLean keeps a close eye on his employees. But it's not to scrutinize what they're doing, but rather how they're doing.
Changes in behavior, changes in things like your attendance, if you're regularly calling in sick, maybe if all of a sudden you're wearing sunglasses when you're not usually wearing it.
It's training he received from his boss at Regency Recruitment and Resources Limited, a place where they take their gender-based violence workplace policy very seriously.
You want to make sure your people are happy, they have a safe space at work, they feel comfortable to come to work, and they are supported. It's not just right for them as human beings, it's good for business.
And the chairwoman says that support comes in the form of providing resources and letting workers know that there are information, support, therapy, and counseling available to them.
It impacts productivity, it impacts wellness, and not just of that individual who's suffering, their entire team, their entire department.
Quintrell Thomas said so far, from her experience with other employers, philosophically, people are on board, but the challenge comes with implementation.
Because this is a topic that is fraught with shame and stigma, and, you know, we don't have a culture of women necessarily who are, or people who are victims, trusting authorities, trusting the police.
Meanwhile, over at the Employers Consultative Association, its CEO explains why they're so heavily involved in its members implementing a GBV workplace policy.
What the data is telling us is that almost half of those persons who experience gender-based violence are working persons.
And the ECA CEO said what they've realized is that emotional abuse is one of the main forms of GBV in the workplace, perpetrated especially by higher-ranking employees.
Some would say the workplace is about power structures, which is why we say it really has to be a top-down approach, and therefore we encourage those at the top to buy into the concept.
Ramlogan said the ECA plays a critical role in providing not only a GBV workplace policy framework for employers, but to also provide guidance with reporting mechanisms and support services. He said while about 85% of workplaces had a sexual harassment policy, when it came to gender-based violence,
the figure flipped, and then you had 10-15% that said yes, and more than 80-85% did not have anything at all.
Working with the UN Spotlight Initiative, the ECA is hoping that such a policy becomes the norm in every workplace. Akash Samaru, CNC3 News.